So we take it one at a time.
Yeah, the
I
first
don't know
person
who
he
to
called was
start.
Maahlox.
Let's start with
No, Maahlox. Let's start with Maahlox, the person he called first. Let's just go the way he called it.
okay.
Let's go with Maahlox, okay? Okay.
Okay.
Let's just give a rundown to everybody. Let me try to give a rundown as precise as I can and as short as possible for most guys who don't know, okay? How did this whole Maahlox and Jovi thing started? We all know in the beginning of all this, Maahlox and Jovi, we saw them back in 2016, 2015. They felt like they were getting along. They were great friends until Jovi would beat Maahlox up. Maahlox would beat Jovi up. When Jovi had that conflict with Stanley, you know, Maahlox was going against Stanley and they felt like friends and all that. Within that, after that, what happened? The friction or the miscommunication or the confusion, because to me this whole thing between Jovi and Maahlox is, to me, from where I'm seeing it, I'm an outsider, let me clarify, from where I see it, is miscommunication and two men who have ego clashing. Jovi has the biggest ego in this industry, so I believe his ego is even the biggest part of it clashing. Maahlox too is another man who doesn't want to take.
I think that can be said to all his beef.
That's what I'm saying. That two men with ego, though it started as, okay, Maahlox, when they brought Techno, I always keep fucking the guy's name up and saying Techno. When they brought Techno to Cameroon and the Jovi show, we all can testify that the show was lit during Jovi's set. Okay, but the media, the amount he was paid got disclosed when he had an interview with somebody. I've forgotten the YouTuber's name. He had an interview and he said he was broke and they called him from Cameroon. They gave him that money and he saved him because he was in debt and all that. And then when he said the amount, I think it was converted to francs CFA, so I think 100 and something million francs, right? And when you convert it to CFA, and Jovi, guys were saying Jovi was paid 6 million francs CFA? 6, right? And
I can't recall exactly the amount, but I know something like that. 6 to 5 or something. I cannot remember.
Yeah, and 6 to 5 between that amount. And they said Kosi was paid 2, Minx was paid 2, Shura was paid 500, something like that, 500k. That amount. Yeah, so, and I was even shocked with the amount I heard most of those guys even called, because like I said, during that Johnny Walker show, I was part of like the organization, like the curation of the show, not organization, the curation of setting up the acts and say, okay, this guy can work with this. So with all that, we get paid. So when I hear the amount those guys receive for performing, I was shocked, you know. And I was in denial, like, I don't think that's the amount they pay those guys. That amount is too small. Because if I can be paid this amount, I don't think these guys can receive this amount. In my head, that was what I was thinking. So Maahlox went online and started saying, Jovi, that how can they bring a foreign artist to Cameroon? They give him a private, like, a hotel. They gave him a car, like VIP treatment, but the guys back home, they just call them and give them not even 1/10 of the amount they gave the guy who came, the artists they are bringing to the country. And for a fact, and Maahlox's point was, for a fact, most of these guys at this show are late for Jovi, because even during the show, you can see the reaction in the crowd, both sets. Jovi's set was way more explosive than Techno's set. So Maahlox even said, and he believes that most guys came to this show for Jovi, but he received less, and said, how can they give these guys, this guy 5 million or 6 million, and they give this other guy 10 million, 100 million? These companies are taking our money, giving these foreigners, they'll go and spend it in their country and all that. So that information got to Jovi, and Jovi felt like, that's where I say ego plays. Jovi felt like Maahlox was using Techno, okay, to degrade him while calling their purses. He was, because mentioning their purses mean he's degrading Jovi. That's why Jovi, from his explanation, that's why he thought he made us understand, and that's why he made us understand that it's in his mind. That how can Maahlox be calling my purse? What does my purse have to do with him? And he reiterated that the purse was higher than what Maahlox said it was, but he didn't disclose it, but he said it was higher. You understand? So his whole point was Maahlox was trying to use a Nigerian artist to degrade him and was trying to say his value was less than that guy, and Maahlox was putting his mouth in his business and said he has never asked Maahlox how much he got paid for a show and all those things. That's where the misunderstanding came from. From my own point of view, Maahlox was trying to help, and Maahlox was trying to point out injustice maybe in the country or in the entertainment scene or in the business side of the entertainment industry in Cameroon, that Jovi should have looked past Maahlox trying to compare their wages, Techno and Jovi's wage, and see the larger problem, the larger picture Maahlox was trying to paint. So when Jovi replied the way he did, Maahlox too is somebody with ego. He didn't try to explain himself again clearly to Jovi. He just said, okay, fuck you. If that's what you think and you look at me this way, you say this, okay, fuck you. So they are not loggerhead. So if you ask me, Jovi misunderstood the whole point and made this problem something it wasn't supposed to be. So recently he had an interview and he said Maahlox threatened to beat him when they met. Right? Say Maahlox threatened to remove his teeth. Okay, no, it's Varsero who said he threatened to remove his teeth. Varsero said that, right?
No, he also said the same thing about Maahlox.
Yeah, he said to Maahlox that when they meet, he'll feel the energy. And because there are so many guys who have said that, and when they meet,
to remove his teeth, and then he hopes that when they meet, Maahlox is not going to start talking about we are brothers kind of thing. He hopes that Maahlox is really going to remove his teeth.
This one thing for a fact, okay? Jovi, that's my own point of view, right? In the Mboko gang guys, and also you guys are to the fingers, and you guys are hard to fire and all that. Okay, I said this thing way back, even when he told Pascal to leave his show, if not, he'll fuck him up. Jovi wasn't gonna do shit. Okay, even up to now, even when he meets Maahlox, Jovi ain't gonna do shit. Jovi can't do shit to Maahlox. Jovi is, we know he has ego and all these things, but to me, Jovi is also as much of a troll as most of these other artists. Jovi will say all these things, but he can't do it. He won't do shit. He can't even do shit to Maahlox. Nigga, you're like 5'4". You can't. Unless you say you have guys who jump Maahlox. Okay, we can understand. But Maahlox do have guys. Maahlox even have more bagandos than you. So.
You're not sure about that though.
I grew up in Mendong and I knew where Maahlox grew up and I know the guys Maahlox hang out with. Maahlox's house was just...
You know that
Maahlox's house.
Maahlox might have Mendong Bangandos. Jovi has national Bangandos behind him.
No, come on, man. Listen, Jovi ain't gonna do shit. This one is a fact. Okay, I can bet my money on it.
You to an extent, but to say so, like even when Jovi said this, I felt like okay, yeah, I don't think you are that powerful. And when he said,
it's not that powerful. He's trolling. He's trying to make his hype.
He said when most people meet him, they see the energy with which he comes with. And I was like, when you say energy, what do you mean? Is it some spiritual force? Is it physical force? Is it some karate tai chi thing you know? Is it some gun power? Or is it your crew? And when I look at all of these things, the biggest or the most possible answer is maybe the crew he rolls with.
That's it.
Is the crew he rolls with.
That's the closest answer.
It could be deep, though. It just depends who he's with when. His crew could be deep.
Yeah.
But now, banking off that crew, I mean, it's not like he has a gang that we know, or he has some guys on a payroll, like some bodyguards kind of thing. So I don't know if that's something.
And also,
if you go.
Also, thinking back of when I was in high school, right? We had a guy who came from Douala. The guy was very small, I think 5'3" or 5'4", like Jovi, very lanky and he never had the explosive or the physical strength, but he was violent. He was evil. Like, is that kind of a guy that you
call those guys
exactly, he was really evil. Like, you see the guy is very small. He's those kind of guys who, when you're talking with him, he has a blade.
On his head.
It's not like breaking a bottle on his head. It's just like he's evil, like wicked. He's somebody that you can be sleeping and he comes and slash you with a blade. That's what the kind of guys they were. Like you can be talking with him, like you want to fight with him. He just come close to you. He always has a blade on him, a razor on him. So guys were always afraid of him because you don't know when he may harm you or cut you. But physically, you can just hold the guys. Like you smack the guy, he'll die. But it was just the malice in his heart that made people afraid of him. That is somebody that can just do something that you don't expect. You may think he'll do it, but you don't know when he'll do it. You know. Those were the kind of guys. So I think if Jovi is that kind of a person, I don't think if he meets Maahlox, because if you meet Maahlox, you're meeting somebody, you guys have a problem, right? You already know you are meeting this person like this, it's about to go down. So that kind of person has already lost his advantage because he's small. At that point in time, he's on. Unless the two of them just met and maybe Jovi may see Maahlox and Maahlox has not seen him, that's when he has an advantage. But if we see each other, you've lost your advantage already. So that's why I'm saying Jovi ain't gonna do shit.
Never can tell though. I mean, so Jovi saying what he's saying, it can be all bluff, but only he knows what he's counting on. I don't know what he's counting on. When he talks about
it's the same way
it's
the same way I said nobody can touch me in Cameroon, right? It's the same way I said nobody can touch me in Cameroon, and you say you don't know what I'm counting on.
Yeah, no, I don't underestimate people. I can really evaluate them. So when you're in
because by the way, I'm not
5'4".
I'm not 5'4". I'm 6'1". So I'm not sure.
I'm like, this is you. You don't have guards. You don't have any gun. You don't know that you know any taekwondo or tai chi something from somewhere. That I'm like, nigga, all that was bluff. Let's go. But until then, you never can tell. Because how heavy someone is willing to go for a battle depends on how pissed off they are or how much resources they have to do what they have to do. So just underestimating a guy, that might be the first step towards defeat if you underestimate somebody. So I don't underestimate anybody till you have the fait devant moi, comme on dit en français, and now I can assess you. But coming back to the Maahlox thing, I feel like you have touched a couple of things which are very valid though.
Yeah.
It's ego at play. Maahlox was trying to help.
Yep.
But bottom line, I get Jovi though. Business-wise, you are messing with his back. Because once word goes out that he's taking this amount, even if he took it or he didn't take it, we know most artists, when they go and do shows, and people even say that I'm going to take 5 million, but put on this thing that or put out in the press release that I took 50 million just to help my next bag that is coming. As a matter of demand and supply and my present value in the market. So, but know who is Maahlox too? I've seen Maahlox really, about most of his things, most interviews, Maahlox starts talking, he might be talking a very valid point, but once they trigger him and he goes out of control, he starts saying he says reckless things. So I can see a Maahlox losing it and then going to say what he was not supposed to say and that's how some of these things start. First is you just saying that, man, I was not to say this thing, let's end there. But because all these egos at play, I would also say that I did something wrong. I'm like, man, I said what I said, deal with it. You two go at me. Instead of something which you can just be like, okay, man, it's okay. You be you, I'll be me. Walk your road. I go now to the point of I'm going to break your teeth when we see. Nobody will not do anything. I always tell people like, the real people that will break your teeth will not tell you that they'll break your teeth. Don't play those games.
Yeah.
They are going to break you while you are sleeping if they must. So most of the time I just tell these rappers like, it's the show, but let's not forget that in America they have security, they have guns and the rest.
Even with the security and all the guns, you see niggas dying. Just yesterday somebody died in the
that's what I'm saying, that with the guns and the security
in LA.
You can bluff certain things. You can be a smaller guy, you might not be physically strong, when you pull out your gun and you face a guy who is 6'6". But in Cameroon, it can really get bad. I mean, like they can beat you for 5 hours and you really cry and beg because you cannot defend yourself, you don't have a gun. So some of these things I just tell people like, man, if you have really been out there like that and you know how things go down, you would look at everybody with a little bit of méfiance. You just, you don't play those games because you know when it goes down, it can go down. Just let it be. Don't say I can. When the time comes to can, just scan it and let it be there. Don't try to play those games. Anyway, my next thing is, so I get Jovi's point business-wise being pissed off at the bag, but I feel like both of them let it go out of control. As you said, it might be miscommunication as you want to coin it, but I feel like the first wrong was done by Maahlox. So Maahlox should assume his responsibility and maybe apologize and then maybe contribution. Now, assuming that Jovi should be the bigger man and they understand the intention behind what Maahlox was trying to defend, yes.
Yeah.
But the first wrong step was made by Maahlox, talking about
the truth. Okay, yeah, the first problem was Maahlox talking about Jovi's purse and revealing what he thinks is Jovi's purse. But we all know this thing for a fact. They paid tenor more than techno. What the fuck do I keep saying tenor? Is it a fault that we have this nigga in it?
Yeah.
So, but the fact is they paid techno more than what Jovi received. It may not be that amount, but that's the fact. That's it.
True.
So Maahlox was trying to paint out that fact.
Numbers-wise, it makes sense.
Yeah, numbers-wise, it makes sense because they're bringing somebody, blah, pay the flight and all those things. Yeah, it's supposed to make sense. Because when Jovi...
disparity in checks, borderline offensive.
Yeah, yeah, of course. But Maahlox's point is, the reason they pay these guys is, and that's why Maahlox even did that Paledo's point in Yaoundé, because they brought some foreign artists and they did not fill it up, right? Completely. And Maahlox said he would do it to show these guys that we can fill it up. And
so what Maahlox should have done is talk about his own bag. Let him say, you guys brought techno and gave him this. But when you guys called me for this show, you tried to give me this. Some sensitive things is okay when you're talking about yourself.
Maahlox was talking in the sense that, okay, these guys coming to this show are coming to see Jovi, okay? And when they come to the show, the amount you guys spend on techno, that money will be recouped by the guys who will be buying to see Jovi. So you're using Jovi, you're using Jovi to pay techno. Do you get the sense?
But you don't have to talk about his bag. If you have to talk about anybody's bag, talk about your own bag.
Okay, no. At that point in time, he's talking about a situation. There are two artists involved. He couldn't use Mings or Kosi at that point. He's using the two headliners, who were Jovi and Techno. Okay, at that point in time, how can he say Techno received more than Jovi without referencing Jovi's purse? How can you address the problem? How can you address a problem without actually addressing the problem?
Okay, so what you can say is the problem is you guys pay. Don't make it particular to this situation. It's a general thing. It's
a general thing, but that one was the prevalent one because Techno reviewed the amount. So they were using that one as an example.
Exactly, but it's a sensitive issue. Yes, but it's a sensitive issue of somebody's bag. So because I don't talk about Jovi's bag, I said, okay, you guys are paying this guy 100 million, but when you guys call me for shows, you want to give me 2 million. Because those things, no matter what, you have to avoid talking about somebody, even if it's not even a matter of friendship and personal basis. It does not look good for his business. One, you might not be very accurate. Two, even if you're accurate, I'm very sure that those numbers were mentioned to you on a confidential basis. So in no terms should you come out and put those numbers. So that's why I'm saying that it was a mistake in the first place. So however I want to put it, he cannot justify the fact that he went out and was talking about Jovi's bag. And to cut the long story short, you just say, man, sorry. But the thing too is, as I said, when Jovi has lost it, he goes extra. You are just like, man, I'm not happy that I'm talking about my bag. Me, even the guys who know me, when I'm pissed off about something, I don't even talk about it. So the crazy thing that
I just avoid it.
Involved, I will not talk about it. I tell the person to your face, I'm like, listen, man, the person who is going to stab you does not tell that is going to stab you. So you just do what is right by you, or if you can correct this wrong. But just know that if you think that I'm mad at you, you just see that I'm mad at you. I'm not going to tell you that I'm mad at you. So most of the time when Jovi says that now, he aggravates the guy even more than he says what he's saying. He talks about removing his teeth and all of that. But as I always said, let's take it back to the lambda. What Maahlox did was wrong. It might be a Maahlox nature to talk out of hand and say what he's saying.
It's not talking out of hand. Maahlox is a passionate. Maahlox is a passionate Cameroonian who addresses problems that affect Cameroonians. When he wants to talk about it, he doesn't hold any punches. He used the raw and the direct words that are available to him at the moment to address the situation. Yeah, he made a mistake by referencing maybe Jovi's purse. Okay, he wasn't supposed to reference Jovi's purse. Okay,
exactly.
But addressing the problem, the armor and the information he had at that moment included Jovi's purse. And Maahlox doesn't have media training. What you're talking about now is media training. Maahlox don't care about media training.
So
that's
it. So once
censor.
I've established you don't have media training, and you know, I tell people at times I might talk from a place of arrogance. I know. So once somebody calls me up for mine, you spoke to me in this manner and I felt like you're being arrogant, in the back of my mind, I'm aware that at times I might come from that place. The first thing I do is, man, I'm sorry if I came to you that way, but I don't mean it like that. And I try to explain myself. It's not going to be trying to defend myself and then insult you even more. Because it's not a new thing coming up to me. So if Maahlox is being known for talking passionately, as soon as Jovi cries for like, man, I feel the kind of way because of this.
Let me take us back.
You chop it apart.
No, let me take us back to when that whole thing was happening. Okay? When that whole thing was happening, when Maahlox did the live video talking and complaining about that, saying les multinationales, pourquoi vous prenez notre argent et vous envoyez ça dehors, when he was talking about that thing, Jovi did that his live talking about Maahlox na paper mon cachet or something like that, was saying that. The next day Maahlox did another live talking about it, still talking about the multinational and all that problem. Okay, this time he did not reference Jovi's amount, but he kept saying, but what these companies are doing is wrong. Maahlox did that for almost 3 to 4 days, almost a week. When Jovi replied, when Jovi said what he said, no, he did not say to his excuse. He did not say that, but he refrained from including Jovi's purse in it. But the reason Jovi's purse came into play.
Out there.
That's why. Understand this.
You say it once or you say it 10 times. It's already out there. It's out there.
Exactly. Understand this. That's why I said the media training, because the first one, when Jovi replied, he realized that the first one caused a problem and he wasn't supposed to reveal it. That's why the subsequent lives he did addressing the same problem, he did not reference Jovi's amount, but he kept referencing Techno's amount. That's media training.
But you see my point. I'm saying that my biggest problem, even when we'll be talking about Jovi, the same thing I have all of these guys. I don't know who is around them and the teams they have. But
another thing to understand what you said, and I get your point.
What you is a faux pas. Apologize and end here.
I understand what you said, and I get your point. Okay. Another thing is, from what you just explained, it has something to do with male ego on Jovi's part. Like, you were not supposed to review my amount because that amount would tarnish the subsequent amounts I may get or offers I may get from next brands who will be approaching me for all this.
Not just ego, but
yeah, but it has to do with his ego too.
No, okay. See, if it's an ego one, you don't need to explain Jovi demonstrating ego. It's obvious.
No, because from the logic you used and saying, okay, it would tarnish the next deals, it's in quotes saying another way, saying fake it till you make it, but in a larger scale. Am I wrong?
No, but always done in business.
I know it's always done in business. I know it's always done in business, but if that information is needed at one point in time to fix a larger problem and you still complain, at that point in time,
it's needed
no, at that point.
And
listen,
Maahlox is giving it as who?
Maahlox is giving it as somebody who is in the system the same as Jovi. It's a complaint. During that same life, he said Orange called him for a show to do a show. He asked them for, I think, 2 million, just 2 million, and they refused. But when they brought P Square in Fally Ipupa and P Square in Cameroon, they paid them higher.
So that's all he should have been talking about.
No, because he's
with Orange, P Square.
Listen,
we're not talking about any other person's back.
Okay, listen. Okay, listen. Maahlox referenced his own back in the beginning before the P Square and the Fally Ipupa thing, right? And he kept talking about it, and nothing happened. Then Jovi's own happened, and he said, "You guys see what I was talking about?" It's almost like somebody being angry that his brother is being mistreated. But the brother, because the brother has ego and want everybody to see like he's fine and he's not being mistreated, he comes at the brother for trying to defend him. That's ego. Because that information is needed to adjust certain things in the industry. He's complaining, Maahlox is complaining, he's giving out his own information. The same way so many artists are supposed to champion that information. Yes, talking as men, your ego, he has put out your amount, which something you never wanted him to talk about or put out. He did, but he did it because he's trying to point out the problem in the industry and the problem in the company. If you still give, you should have told him, okay, don't call my amount. When Jovi said it, he stopped saying it. But that shouldn't warrant Jovi to keep poking him because of that same thing. Because Jovi has referenced that every time he goes live, I want to address Maahlox, he says that.
But do you think that if Maahlox had said, "I'm sorry for mentioning your bag," Jovi might have stopped poking him? Not trying to defend Jovi's ego here. I'm just saying that at times, we are all the problem until you see that, okay, because most of this interview, I'll be talking about what Jovi has done wrong. Or most of the time, I mention what he does wrong. But at times, too, I can know that, okay, this is my younger brother's an anger problem. And then I take stones and I keep shooting in his head. When he explodes, everybody's like, this guy cannot control himself. But if we really want to solve that problem, maybe I should have just stopped shooting him those stones.